Okay, so this is my second year with the My Goal Foundation, and so last year's presentation was mainly focused on human trafficking. So this year I chose to do there are some aspects about it, but I chose to more focus on diversity because this second trip really affected me a lot more than it did last year. So just to recap, I basically just took the main, like, what they stand for, what the My Goal Foundation is. You can find this on their website. And I just chose these three because it is what they do. They're honoring my vision, they're committed to helping in New Paltz, and they really do help youth, like, realize their dreams. So I consider the My Goal Foundation like a second family to me. They're really awesome people, and the trips have been really amazing. So Elise and Matthew are the founders of the My Goal Foundation, and they put together the whole trip, the itinerary and everything, which is a lot of hard work, so I'd like to just let everyone know that. Noelle is also one of the team leaders. She's a therapist you didn't know you needed. She's really, really, like, I had like a 2 a.m. cry session with her. Like, she really, like, just figures you out. It's not okay. And then there's Diana, and then Jessica, Laura, and then Shelly, our nurse. Like I said, a second family, and Noelle and Elise were with me on the trek, and they were very supportive because the trek was really hard for me, and they were just really supportive, and by the end of the trek, I was just breezing through it. So, Sasane, who we talked about, and ACC, who we talked about, so these are specifically who came with us, and the trek that we went on was to basically stop human trafficking. Going back to the Sasane, all the money that we put into the trek goes back to the villages, it goes back to Sasane themselves, because like Tara said, they're very poor, very impoverished, and one thing that Sasane did for them is they gave them water filters, because something I did not know is their kids, like themselves, they get dysentery. Like, they're not immune to it when they're born, which is really interesting. And there was this one man, and his child was like deathly ill, and I think it was Jeshuda who was like telling him, you need to use the filters we gave you. So that was really interesting to learn about. Also about the human trafficking thing. There was a village we went to that had no teenage girls. Why? Because they had sold all of them to China. Why did they sell them? Why? These horrible people, why would they do that? Because they had no choice, probably they had no money, or they were deceived. They were told that you can be a model, you can have a better life, but then it turns out no. And it's not just girls either. I talked about this in my other presentation. It hits boys too. They can be used for hard labor. It hits adults as well. And it's a really serious thing. And so I was really honored to go on this trek to support Sasane, to support these villages, and to just learn some money doesn't necessarily equal happiness. Like, they are very poor. They don't know probably what a refrigerator is, or probably what a working toilet is. But you know what? They were fine. You know, they were fine going on with their daily lives because it's all they know. They have no first world problems like we do. So just being in that environment and just living the way they lived was just very humbling for me. And I'm very grateful to realize how privileged I really am. So I have some pictures. So this is Lakshmi 1, Lakshmi 2, and then Jashuda. And then over in the corner, we've got Anikaran, Kavita, Rena, Angela. I forgot a picture of Kashi. I hope she doesn't kill me. And then I got Seema over there. in her pretty little traditional getup. Yeah, she'll kill me for that. I roomed with Sadie on the first night, and that's a picture of the bed. It was literally just a board. It was just a plank, and I had the biggest back pain I've ever experienced. Like, the mattress did nothing for you. What did Sadie do? She there was one time when I put myself into the sleeping bag to try and get comfortable, and then all the girls were drunk or something, and they were knocking on the door, and I just hopped down in my little sleeping bag, and they just someone's got a picture of it.
What girls were drunk? Wait a second.
But no one was drunk.
The village girls.
Yeah.
Not our girls.
Not to out anyone. Anyways, back to our topic. Okay, so this is what I was referring to about how they're just living their daily lives. That walk for me, I was winded. But a walk for Kashi kept laughing at me. That was behind her. It's a lot different environment. It's really high up. I got sunburned because it was so high up, and I don't burn. And then we have a healing ceremony that we got to see at the end of the day, or the end of the trek, the last day, which was really interesting. I loved the bright colors, and some guy got hit with boiling water and leaves. I hope he got well after that. And then we have a woman here who's making clothing, because they make all their own clothing, which is really interesting, because I always thought, because we had to drive 5 hours away just to get to the trek, the start of it. So I was like, how do they get clothes? So apparently they make all of them, which is really interesting, because I wish I could make my own clothes. But I don't know, I really like that. Okay, so to the main topic. And I'm gonna out Tara a little bit. Are you uncomfortable? Good. Because a lot of people, like Tara said, a lot of people on this trip were predominantly white. Predominantly we're all from the United States. And so, a lot of people were uncomfortable. They were getting used to the culture shock, and they were just uncomfortable. And so, what I took from that, intellectually, thinking about it, they were experiencing being a minority surrounded by a popular Asian country, a populace of it. And that was just really interesting to look at, because I wasn't born here. And so, going there and kind of just blending in with the HCC kids and stuff, and talking to me and stuff, it just, for me, it was like I was at home, kind of. Even though I'm American, I will always be American, I speak English and everything, but being with them, just being the same skin and just blending in was just really wholesome for me. So back to the diversity thing. I thought it was really good that everyone was uncomfortable. I thought it was really good that everyone, towards the end of the 2-week trips, they were really, really good about it. I don't think a single person was uncomfortable at the end. They were all really diverse. They were really cultural diffusion. And I really enjoyed seeing that, being a minority myself. I think when they came back to the high school, they were gonna bring something back to everyone, their friend group. And they're gonna be hey, be more accepting. And I thought a good example of it was New York City. How everyone in their boroughs take stuff really seriously. And each borough is predominant for a different race, Italian or Greek or Spanish and stuff. But they all kind of just live within each other, they accept each other. And so what I said to wrap this up is it's not a big deal where you're from, we're all people. That's just the main idea of my diversity. And I also just wanted to talk about how we are all the same. All the kids that we hung out with, they go to school, they play sports. They're teens just like us and they want to have fun. And I really enjoyed seeing that, because when you think of a foreign country, you kind of think of like the idea is so far away from you, it's so different. But at the end of the day, all of us My Goal Foundation kids and the ACC kids and the kids at Ganesh School, we all just had fun and we all just played around and we're just people at the end of the day, which was pretty incredible. So that's the end of my slide. Any questions? Matthew?
Great job,
I got a question.
by the way.
What was the biggest shock for you going there in terms of diversity?
Well, this was my second time, so I was kind of used to it, but maybe when we were on the trek and I got to see like the hills, what they define as hills, and oh, that's just like a walk, but it was really like 2 miles or something.
Were the cultures out in the hills different than the HEC kids?
Yeah, the ACC kids were all city people, like they all dwelled in Kathmandu. So when we went to the towns, they were, I'm not gonna say shocked, but they were as like in the same boat as us, because they didn't know, or they weren't aware of all of the, I don't know how to put this. Okay, so they're all city people. It's like people from New York City, and they all generalize New York City as city, but we all know we're not New York City. It's kind of like that with Kathmandu and with all of Nepal. And so when we were all together, we were all learning the same stuff kind of together, and it was interesting.
I'm really interested in your feeling at home there because of the color of your skin as opposed to here. Can you say any more about that? What that was like? Most of my friends and most of the high school are really made up of Caucasians. I'm sorry, I really just don't want to offend anyone.
You're not.
And I can probably name 3 other Asian people at the top of my head, probably. So like being in a country full of them was just, wow. It was just great. It was honestly awesome for me, and it was just, it did feel like home, because I don't know, like problems that I had or something, like they could relate to, and I just like being surrounded by people the same skin tone as me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you feel that the degree of comfort they felt with you was stronger because you had the same skin color? I mean, did you feel like people that you met in Nepal were more open with you than you were noticing with people with a different skin color?
I think they were open to all of us. I definitely want to say that they weren't like, I wasn't singled out. Like we were all like really invited and stuff, but I feel like I got a little crazy with them. Cause like I felt so like close to them, like I touched animals.
Maly, you cannot come back again.
No touching animals.
Don't follow my, it's in a picture, don't follow my example. Like, I made a dog follow us for like 3 days. So like, I did a lot of crazy stuff that I probably wouldn't have done if we were in Kathmandu. Because we were alone. There was like 10 of us. And like, I think it was like me, Rena, Kashi, Lakshmi and stuff. We would like go off to the side while the adults weren't looking and like just do the craziest things. And then like one of the other 5 trekkers would just be like, "What are you doing? Get together." But I would just ignore them. Like I ate fruit. Like I ate the fruit because I was like, "Oh, I'm invincible, whatever." And Will would get really mad at me because he would be like, "You're not gonna get sick, but I wish you would." Because if anyone else did it, they would definitely get sick. So, yeah, that's what I mean by home, really.
Just one comment sort of on what I gathered from what you said. You said everybody kind of felt uncomfortable at first, but then by the end of the trip they felt comfortable. And what I gathered from that is that the more that time that people spend in a place or with different people that they maybe see as different, they start to feel similarities and start to feel the ways that we relate and in the human aspect of things.
Yeah, that's definitely 100% true. I think that's perfectly put. And I think that applies to here. I feel like New Paltz is a very like accepting town. I don't feel like there's really anyone that's, you know, like that. They'll probably get kicked out. But like in general, like through the United States, if everyone just like kind of got to know someone they didn't like, or like of a different race, I mean, I feel like they would find so many similarities. They would enjoy, like I enjoy the Nepali culture so much, and I think if everyone just thought like that, we would all honestly get along and be better people. I think, like, better people. We're already better people. Yes.
I really appreciate that you embraced this topic, and I was surprised to hear you say that you'd be concerned about offending someone with something you were going to say. And I just feel like we live in a time where everyone is, or a lot of people are so concerned about, you know, saying the wrong thing, stepping on someone's toes and offending people. And it's really about communication. Like, as long as we're in communication with each other and talk about these things and how does it feel and what is it like for you and what is it like for me, and have the intention of coming together and breaking down those boundaries, then it's all good. And you know, if I say something that offends you, I'd like for you to say, you know, like, that didn't feel good to me, you know, maybe that would be better if you said it differently. And the same for you, you know, I think we're too afraid, and then what ends up happening is nobody says anything because they're too worried about, I might offend someone. But we need the dialogue, and I really appreciate that you kind of went into that.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt. Like, I would be talking to Michelle, and they'd be like, "Oh, I really don't want to say something wrong. Like, I don't want everyone to get mad at me." No, I really agree with that. And you're right. People do need to speak up and not be so offended in this day and age. So yeah.
I would love for you to share something about the 5th slide. So, you want to pop that?
Do it in here.
Yeah, or yeah, that. Perfect. Yes, the middle picture.
Oh, the porters?
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if you can tell.
Okay.
In fact, this gentleman asked about Sherpas.
Oh, yeah.
Or porters, right?
Yeah. So we call them porters. They do have Sherpas in Nepal though, but I think that's what they consider the people who carry your stuff up Mount Everest and everything. Because when my dad did Everest, he called them Sherpas. So, but we called them porters. I think my biggest regret out of the trek was not getting to know them as well, because they would get up earlier than us, and they would be gone before we even started. But yeah, they would carry.
One thing, what gender are they?
Oh, they're females. They're
Oh, really?
girls. All of them are girls. All of them are like 15 to like 18.
These,
Mhm.
but not all porters.
No, not all.
No,
purposes
these
for
ones
these.
were employed by Sasani so they would have a job,
Ah,
which is really inspiring because I was not doing that when I was 15.
this time.
I'm 18. I'm 3 years too late.
Thank you.
All good. Thank you.